Good morning, friends. Welcome to another day of Almost Daily Meditations. Hope you're doing well and ready for this Wednesday. As we continue our walk through Lent, we've been at it for a week, so you've got 1/6 of Lent behind you. Part of what I think Lent is about is, again, you can get this time to refocus. It's a time to heighten the awareness of your spiritual life, and we do that through all the different practices that we can approach in Lent. And I think one of the things that I remember, some of you might know that I did quite a bit with music when I was in college, and music's been a big part of my life, and I used to write music as part of that. And one of the things that I remember talking with another composer about at a conference was that there is a flow of music around you. So it's this idea that there's tunes and there's this sort of thing, and you, when you sing in large groups, when you participate in big music offerings, you can begin to experience that very thing. Like there's this sort of these moments when everything kind of comes together and there's this sort of perfection, and this composer would talk about how there was a constant flow of music around us all the time. And that particular composer was also a religious person and would think of that as sort of God's flow. And that's another way to think of the spiritual life, as something that's always around us. It is something that flows in God's love and God's presence. And then when we bring our spiritual practices to bear in our lives, we become more aware of the flow that's around us, or the sense of the spiritual life that's around us. Richard Rohr writes, "Faith does not need to push the river because faith is able to trust that there is a river. The river is flowing and that we are in it." So faith doesn't need to push the river because faith is able to trust that there is a river and that the river is flowing and we are in it. And I think that's part of, our renewed sense of faith in Lent, is that we're sort of tapping into that sense of God being all around us. One of the beautiful hymns that we have that we find this is in St. Patrick's Breastplate, which is something we sing sometimes during the season of Easter and in others, but it's Christ within me, Christ above me, Christ beside me, Christ around me. This sort of whole sense of God enveloping us, of Christ's presence enveloping us, and being around us in all the different ways. So maybe one of the questions to think about as you're in the midst of whatever it is that you're doing, your fasting, your study, your reconciliation, your different work, is what is God's flow that's around you? How is God's love flowing around you in your life? Where do you find that? And how can you get a sense of the river of love that is around you and flowing through you and loving you in the midst of every part of your journey? Hope you have a great day. God bless, and we'll see you tomorrow.
We walk by faith and not by sight. No gracious words we hear of him who spoke as none else spoke, but we believe him near. We may not touch his hands and side, nor follow where he trod, yet in his promise we rejoice and cry, my Lord and God.
Help then, O Lord, our unbelief, and may our faith abound, to call on you when you are near, and see